Welcome to the IT Free Training video on configuring a claims provider trust. In this video, I will configure a claims provider trust in the domain HighCostTraining. So far, Active Directory Federation services have been configured and set up in the ITFreeTraining domain and the HighCostTraining domain. A relying party trust has been configured in the ITFreeTraining domain. Now, a claims provider trust needs to be configured in the HighCostTraining domain. This is necessary to accept claims from ITFreeTraining. I will now change to my Windows Server 2012 R2 computer to look at how to configure a claims provider trust. First of all, I will open Server Manager, and from the Tools menu, select FS Management. Once FS Management has opened, I next need to expand down to Claims Provider Trusts located under Trust Relationships. To create the new trust, right-click Claims Provider Trusts and select the option Add Claims Provider Trust to start the wizard. Once I am past the Welcome screen, on the next screen I will need to enter in the name of the server that I want to establish the trust with. In this case, I have configured the DNS server on this network with a conditional forwarder so that the ITFreeTraining server can be resolved. If this is not the case, you can export the configuration data from the other server and store it in a file. To read in this data, the second option can be used. If you do not have this information, you have the third option available, which will allow you to enter in the data manually. Since I have a direct connection to the other server, I will leave it on the default option and move on. The wizard will contact the other server and obtain its configuration details. In a previous video, I imported the ITFreeTraining root certificate to this server, so the server will be able to establish a secure connection between the two servers. If you have not completed this step, you may get an error message here. On this screen, I need to enter in a display name for the new trust. This should be a descriptive name that describes the trust. Also, you have the option to add additional notes to describe the trust if you require. The next screen shows the configuration information that will be used to create the trust. As you can see when I go through the tabs, there is quite a lot of information that is used to create a trust. Some of this information is obtained from the other server, and some of the information is the default configuration from this server. Once I press the Next button, the trust will be created. On the last screen of the wizard is the tick box Open the Edit Claims Rule dialog for this claims provider trust when the wizard closes. This will open the Edit Dialog Rules dialog and allow changing of the rules for this trust. In this case, I will clear this tick box so I can open the dialog box manually. I will now close the wizard. You can see the new claims provider trust listed. If I right-click this trust, I can select the option Edit Claim Rules. Notice that, unlike the relying party trust, there is only one tab and thus only one set of rules. Rules that are defined in here allow a transformation to be applied to an incoming claim. In other words, it allows details of the claim to be changed. To do this, I press the button Add Rule to launch the wizard. On the first screen of the Add Rule wizard, notice that I first need to select a template. This will determine how the transform will work on the claim. In this case, I will select the option Pass Through or Filter an Incoming Claim. Once selected, I will press Next to move on to the next screen. On this screen, I need to enter the details of the transform. At the top, I need to enter in a name of the rule. Once this is done, below this, I need to select the incoming claim type. Notice there are a lot of different options you can select here. This rule will be applied if a match is found on the incoming claim. Remember, you can create multiple rules in here if you need to. In this case, I will select Group from the list, since my incoming claim that is configured in the previous video is based on a group. Under this, the default option is Pass Through All Claims Values. This will do as it suggests. All the values of the claim will pass through the server unchanged. In this case, the rule will accept claims that are group-based and then pass on any values in that claim even if they are not related to the group. In some cases, you may want to pass through only specific values, and this can be done with the second option, pass through only a specific claim value. In this particular case, I will configure this to look for the value Web Application, since I configured the other side to send claims through using this value. You also have the third option, which will pass through claims that match a specific email suffix. The fourth option allows claims to be sent through that match at a specific value. You can see that you have a lot of control over how a claim can be transformed. If I press Finish, the rule will be created. Remember, you can create multiple rules if you need to in order to get the result that you require. If I now exit out of Edit Claim Rules, that is all that needs to be configured on this server. I now have a trust configured on both sides, the ITFreeTraining side and the HighCostTraining side, which is ready to create and process claims. Thanks for watching this video from ITFreeTraining. Please see our webpage or YouTube channel for more videos from us. See you next time.